guys, this is the work of Group 5 and our topic is about the 6 stages of the change model. And so for our topic outline, first is the definition, second, the discussion of the 6 stages of the change model, and for the last is the limitations of the change model. The 6 stages of change model or the trans-theoretical model is devised in order to address people at various stages of the decision-making process. It suggests numerous public health intervention options. So the trans-theoretical model has 6 stages. First is the pre-contemplation, which is the starting point. Second is the contemplation. Third is the preparation. Fourth is the action. Fifth is the maintenance. And for the last is the relapse. So we're now going to move on the first stage of the change model.
Our topic is about 6 stages of change model. So it is devised in order to address people at various stages of the decision-making process. So the trans-theoretical model suggests numerous public health intervention options. So first is the pre-contemplation stage. So in this stage, people are not thinking seriously about changing and are not interested in any kind of help. So dito, yung tao, hindi nila nakikitaan na meron dapat baguhin sa kanilang sarili or sa habit nila kasi feeling nila tama sila, ganun. And hindi sila nag-a-ask or hindi nila iniintindi yung suggestion ng ibang tao na magbago sila. Okay, so dito din sa stage na to ay they may be defensive in the face of other people's efforts to pressure them to change. And kapag this stage, people frequently defend their existing poor habits and do not see the issue with them. And when others try to persuade them to change, they could become defensive. Yun nga, gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, kapag kunwari may nakapansin ng pagkakamali mo or ng bad habits mo na dapat mong baguhin, yung isang person ay ide-defend niya na, wala namang mali, okay lang naman yung ginagawa ko. Ganun. Dito sa pre-contemplation stage, dun nangyayari yun. And also, this stage is also called as the denial stage. It might also be said that people are simply not yet aware of their own condition. So, they do not see themselves as having a problem. Gaya nga ng paulit-ulit kong sinasabi kanina, hindi talaga magbabago ang isang tao kung hindi niya nakikita sa sarili niya yung pagkakamali niya or yung problem mismo sa sarili niya. Kaya kapag mag-change talaga ang isang person, nakadepende talaga yun sa sarili niya. Kahit ano pang sabihin ng ibang tao, kung yung sarili niya, sa sarili niya mismo, hindi niya makikita na may dapat siyang baguhin or mayroon siyang pagkakamali, hindi talaga siya magbabago. Okay, so an example is a person is obese and a therapist told him that he should go running or have a sport to reduce his weight and become healthy. So the therapist also said to reduce eating junk and sweet foods, but the person said, I have no intention of taking up sport or going running. I love eating sweet foods and I am healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is what the pre-contemplation stage looks like, or the denial stage. In here, we can see that the person is denying or declining the change that was suggested by the therapist or another person, because they do not see the wrong, that they do not see any problem in their action. Okay, so the next stage or the second stage is the contemplation stage. So after maging in denial ni person sa kanyang sarili kung dapat ba siyang mag-change, dito naman sa contemplation stage, sa ating second stage, people are on a teeter-totter weighing the pros and cons of the modifying their behavior. So, yung teeter-totter, yung parang dun sa siso. Di ba pag sa siso parang inaangat, merong aangat, tapos yung isa naman bababa, ganun. Wini-weigh niya, tinitimbang niya yung pros and cons ng kanyang behavior. Tapos dito sa stage na to, they think about the negative aspects of their bad habits and the positives associated with changing. Dito, maiisip nila na ay parang mapapansin na nila ay parang meron ngang negative effects yung habits ko, yung parang ay parang meron ngang mali, something like that. Pero naiisip din nila na yung magiging outcome kapag nagbago sila, ganun, ano yung pwedeng mag-change, magbago kapag nagbago sila ng lifestyle or nag-change sila ng kanilang bad habits. Okay, this stage, they may doubt that the long-term benefits associated with change will outweigh the short-term costs. So, dito sa stage na to, it might take as little as a couple weeks. Pwede siyang maging ganun lang kabilis sa pag-contemplate sa kanyang sarili. And pwede din siyang maging lifetime. Like, sobrang tagal to get through the contemplation stage. Kasi nga, dito sa stage na to, parang dito mo, parang ka nang nagre-reflect na sa sarili mo, ganun. Like, sasabihin mo, ay, kailangan ko na ba talagang magbago? Parang, kailangan ko na rin i-consider na magbago kasi may nakikita ka na ring mali sa actions mo, ganun. Parang unti-unti mo na siyang nare-realize. So, for example, yung kanina nga, yung about dun sa obese na person. So, dito naman, the person is considering what the therapist has said. I might change my lifestyle. I should consider running and taking up a sport. Maybe it can help me to become healthier and physically fit. And I know that I need to lose weight for my health, but I enjoy fast food. Andun pa rin siya sa part na syempre, may part pa rin sa kanya na nag-e-enjoy siya. Parang gusto niya pa rin i-continue yung ginagawa niya. Pero may part pa rin sa kanya na gusto niya na rin mag-change kasi nga mali nga yung ginagawa niya. Ayun po. Next is Ate Dina. This is what it looks like when a person is under the contemplating stage. He is weighing the pros and cons of the behavior or the action.
So for the third stage of change model, which is the preparation or determination or getting ready to change, this outline the people who have decided to change within the next 30 days. They believe that by altering their behavior, they can live healthier lives. This indicates that the person has begun to recognize their own responsibility for the issue and the need to take the action. They are currently preparing for change by organizing the action that will be taken. Additionally, the person may consider the cause and consequences of their action and how he or she will act upon the risk. If someone lacks emotional support, they will look for assistance from people who can encourage their actions and their new path and validate their decisions. This is a challenging stage because this is the phase when a person starts to doubt their abilities and self-worth. However, if a person is strong enough, they will probably be able to handle any issues on their own because they are more determined to complete the task. For example, I've got to do something about this. This is serious. Something has to change. What can I do? So in this case, the person has recognized the seriousness of the case and we're planning to a change for their behavior. So they will go to the research phase when they are collecting knowledge about what they will need to do to change their behavior. This is often by reading articles like this, or they will look into the organizations, websites, and other resources that can assist them in their goal. Sometimes they are afraid to ask their family members and rather ask their best friends because they are afraid to be judged and to be considered as a failure. Aside from that, people often skip this stage. They attempt to jump straight from concept to action but fail because they haven't sufficiently considered or acknowledged what it will take to achieve this significant lifestyle change. Some people have an excessive amount of self-confidence and do not think before they act because they somehow believe that there will still be another chance if they are wrong, or they are simply very laid back, or they believe that someone will be there to assist them, so it is alright for them to take the action, which occasionally results in errors and difficulties for that person. Mukhang napapadalas na yung pag-inom ko ng alcohol Siguro dapat ko nang bawasan or itigil ito, baka kung ano pa yung mangyayari sa akin. Kontakin ko nga mamaya yung doktor namin kung ano yung mga dapat kong gawin para mabawasan or matigil ko na yung pag-iinom ko. The next stage, which is the stage 4, the action or willpower. This is the act of changing the behavior. In this stage, the people are motivated to change their behavior with that behavioral modification they expect to continue. They actively engage in changing their negative behavior by utilizing a range of strategies. Acting on the plans and strategies developed in response to choices begins at this point. This is the start of a new adventure, and it will be interesting to see how the person will adapt and embrace the new path. There will be certain challenges and difficulties during the action, and if the individual feels that taking on the challenge will be too difficult and sudden for them, they may choose to continue or stop and return to the preparation. In order to limit the damages on the outside and make them tolerable on the inside, it is crucial to think through and weigh all the necessary aspects and those that can affect the change. So in this stage, it is the shortest of all stages. People vary in how long they spend acting, and it typically lasts for around 6 months, although it can last for just an hour for a person. People depend on their willpower. They are the greatest danger of relapsing since they are actively trying to change the behavior. There will be some mistakes made during this period, but if a person has the willpower to keep going, they will find it easier because they are less likely to quit up after making a few slip-ups. If the action is too much and can't be handled by the person, it is fine because various people react to situations differently and to varying degrees. People have different levels of resilience, and not everyone has the opportunity or the resolve to take action because of internal and external factors. Baby steps at a time in order to fully adjust and less mistakes. Some may fail and some may win, but life is not a life if you never experience any pain and failure because they will serve as a lesson for you in the future. You can expect success if you do not learn from your mistakes because failure is what drives us to be a better person and a better version of ourselves. During this stage, the people reevaluate their commitment to themselves and create strategies for handling internal and external influences that could cause missteps, which will be a big factor in their road to success. They might employ immediate rewards by giving themselves a chance to do what they want to keep themselves motivated, and they might conduct an analysis for their behavior modification attempts that gives them more self-reassurance. Reflecting from their actions and change is a vital factor in determining the next phases and decisions. With that, they may be able to find some underlying issues that need to be addressed immediately. In this stage, people tend to receive support. Individuals at this stage are more likely to seek out support from others and to be open to receiving assistance. A person may not be able to handle all the difficulties during the action and may need assistance from others, such as confidant with whom they can discuss their issues and who can help them get through the stage. It is crucial to have someone by your side while you are struggling because they will help you achieve your goals since they are someone you can rely on and trust. With it, you'll be able to master the courage to continue along your difficult path. Ay, titigil na talaga ako sa pag-iinom ko. Kahit tiyain pa ako ng kaibigan ko o ng mga kapatid ko, hindi na talaga. Final na talaga to, hindi na ako iinom. Siguro magpo-focus na lang ako sa mga bagay na mas makakatulong sa akin para maging healthy. Hindi na lang ako iinom ng alak. Siguro juice na lang or kaya gatas. Ano kaya pwede kong gawin? Magpapatulong na lang ako sa aking kakilala kung paano mga dapat kong gawin para maiwasan ko na talaga ang pag-inom at para naman magkaroon ako ng healthy lifestyle.
As you can see in those videos, the person already surpassed pre-contemplation, which is denial, contemplation, which is thoughts of changing, preparation or planning, and action, which is executing that plan. Now, the person is struggling in stage 5, which is maintenance or avoiding any temptation. Bullet number 1, being able to successfully avoid any temptations to return to the bad habit. Good planning is the key, which is not even exposing yourself, or much better, not getting near, that will remind you of your bad habits. This is because you don't want to easily deplete your willpower. And if your mind ran through thoughts of temptations, it is easily answered by proper ways of coping, distracting, or just rejecting submitting to the idea, preventing you to turn to the bad habits. Bullet number 2, maintaining the new status quo. This is all about your self-image. The person already surpassed his previous old identity and is trying to uphold to the new identity and standards. You are hyper aware of who you are right now, that you want to protect it. Because of this, you will not revert back to your old bad habits. Bullet number 3, constantly reformulating or changing the rules of their lives to avoid relapse. Awareness that the person needs to constantly adjust the already formed set of rules and boundaries will aid to avoid minor and major relapses. Because as we all know, change is also constant. Bullet number 4, they are patient with themselves. They are not hard on themselves because they are mindful of their own limitations and capabilities. They don't rush things in a linear fashion, but rather they are conscious that change is full of spikes and slopes. Sometimes they can reach their thresholds. Bullet number 5. How long does maintenance take place? Post 6 months to 5 years. Maintaining can last for months, even years to be stabilized. So be patient. Sustaining the regimen that you just make can be hard for a few months. But don't worry. If you surpass it, you develop a new habit. And it can be a habit that you don't have to be extremely watchful about versus when you just started. This is because it becomes a muscle memory that your mind can automatically do without thinking strenuously. Ay, grabe, stress na naman ako sa buhay ko. Ano kayang pwedeng mainom? Pampalamig, alak o tubig? We are now in stage 6, which is relapse or termination, old life or new life. Bullet number 1. This stage is often not considered in health promotion programs. This is because it is still considered and solely based on the result of maintenance stage. That is why what happens at that stage will determine if you would relapse or you would terminate the old bad habit. If you are confident with your plan and execute it accordingly, the guarantee of termination will occur. But if you have trouble with the planning, then immediately proceed to the action. Chances are you will relapse and reevaluate your uncertain goals. Bullet number 2, relapse, resumption of old behaviors. They have simply lost their motivation to continue, And the possible major factor is the opposite of termination. That is, negative results outweighs the positive outcome. The sacrifices the person put through may seem extreme to continue. The lack of awareness of their competencies may lead them to do unattainable goals, thus feeling inadequate. The person must go back to stage 3 to plan and reassess their self-efficacy to adjust to their attainable goal that will change their perspective and create new motivations. Bullet number 3. Termination. People have no desire to return to their unhealthy behaviors and are surely they will not relapse because they already see the positive results and it outweighs the negative impacts. They tend to be more motivated to continue. The continuous dopamine release of the positive results will be their core motivator factor. They do not see their previous self anymore and see the outcomes more. In this circumstance, they already surpass the harmful habits and are more inclined not to relapse, even despising the idea of it.
Hindi ko na kaya. Hindi ko na kaya yung stress. Gusto ko na muna mag-relax. Ngayon lang naman ulit ako iinom eh. Pero ilang buwan na akong consistent. Ngayon ko pa ba sisirain yun? Hay! Hayaan mo na nga.
For this next slide po, we're gonna talk about the elements of change. There are 3 elements of change: readiness to change, barriers to change, and likelihood of relapse. First one is readiness to change. It is when a person is mentally prepared and willing to adapt, accept a specific idea or plan to change the current situation. If readiness is at the top, a person should be able to sustain and initiate major changes better. It is very important for an individual or organization to be prepared po for major changes. If di po prepared ang isang individual, there are a lot of complications may occur po sa nangyayaring major change. Next one is barriers to change. In every successful major change, there are always barriers that either make it concrete or complicated. Most of the time, these barriers make a person experience difficulty in facing changes. These barriers can be lack of clarity, ineffective change of communication, strategic shortcomings, change resistant culture, or lack of governance. These are the things po na nagpapahirap sa isang individual to adapt may major change at nagresulta po sa hindi maganda or komplikasyon po sa pagbabago ng isang individual. Lastly is likelihood of relapse. There is a tendency that a person goes back to his or her bad habit after being treated or rehabilitated. This is called relapse. For example, a drug addict that goes back on using illegal drugs after his or her rehabilitation. Relapse occurs when individuals lose vision or goal about their recovery. There's a high chance of relapse when an individual is having a hard time coping up with his or her stressors. Kadalasan po na pag ang individual ay nagkaroon po ng depression or anxiety, they will have a hard time coping up with the depression they're facing po na nakakapagdulot ng pagkawala ng kanilang vision sa kanilang pagbabago na nakakapag-resulta po ng relapse. They will tend to go back to their bad habits instead of continuing the rehabilitation or their recovery. For the last part of the presentation, we're gonna talk about limitations of a trans-theoretical model. First limitation is the hypothesis disregards the social context such as risk and income in which the change happens. Next is, since there is no established method for identifying a person's stage of transition, the boundaries between the stages may be arbitrary. It is not always the case that the surveys used to categorize people into different stages of transitions are standardized or validated. Dahil nga po sa wala namang standard or na-establish na method sa pag-identify ng mga bawat stage na dinaan ng isang person, ang nangyari pong resulta ay arbitrary, kumbaga randomized lang po yung naging resulta. For the next limitation, how much time is required for each stage or how long a person can stay in a stage is not apparent. Next is the model makes the inaccurate assumption that people always create rational and cohesive strategies while making decisions. Nakasaad po dito na hindi accurate yung mga resulta na lumalabas dahil po sa bastang assumption po sa mga strategies na ginagamit ng mga tao sa pagdedesisyon. We cannot always assume that people uses the right strategy in making their decisions. There are a lot of outside factors that can affect a person's strategy in making a decision.
If you had that spark of interest in our topic and would like to learn more, feel free to click the link reference available here. That's all, and thank you for listening.